What's up, guys? Welcome to multiplestreams.org. Jeremy and myself wanted to make you this video for a couple different reasons. Number one, we want to legitimatize the fact that you searching for multiple streams of income or you already having multiple streams of income is absolutely what you have to do if you want to get ahead in this life. Working for someone for a wage for 30, 40 years and getting a gold watch is definitely not going to get you too far ahead. Not in 2017 and beyond. Things are just getting too darn expensive. But number two, we want to actually show you our strategy of how we create small, simple, passive income streams. And we believe it to be one of those strategies that anyone can do. It's very simple. It's very easy to execute. And we're going to kind of show you that on this video. Now, of course, you're probably asking yourself, why would we want to share any of this with a perfect stranger like you? And what's in it for you guys, or for us in that matter? Two main reasons. Number one, we have a coaching and mentoring program, well over 3,000 students all over the globe that have kind of went through this process and learned from us. And yes, we do charge money for it, so that's kind of what's in it for us. But number two, I think once you hear the strategy, you'll quickly understand that sharing it with you will really never affect us or any of our students' ability to create these easy passive income streams, because the market is incredibly vast. And so with that being said, I want to jump right into it with you guys and show you the strategy that I think is one of the most perfect business models, one that I think you're seeing in the likes of Uber, Airbnb, Facebook, Alibaba. They're all kind of taking this model and this approach, and I think it's why we're seeing the massive growth in those types of companies. And so let's jump right into the strategy, leave nothing held back, and kind of teach you this entire process end to end. And then I think by the end of this, you're going to have a pretty good grasp on how you can start executing this in your own marketplace, in your own city, in your own country. All right, let's go. Okay, so as we jump in, I wanted to read you guys a quick quote from someone that I call a mentor, look up to as a mentor or coach. It's so important to have coaches and mentors in your life. But Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues. Go figure out what someone who was successful did and model it, improve it, but learn their steps. They have knowledge. Okay. And this is so important for what I'm about to show you guys as far as a modeling standpoint and a success standpoint. So I want to show you a couple things. Many of you guys have heard me mention the company Uber. Uber started in 2009, so not very many years ago. We're going on 8 years right now. And they're a very disruptive company. They've basically figured out that they were in an industry of taxis where it was very antiquated. The owners of these companies were old school in many rights, and they came in and disrupted the company, or disrupted the industry. They figured out that, hey, if we can connect buyer with seller and do it in a smarter fashion, we can take a little sliver to deliver. We can take a little cut of the action. That's exactly what they've done. And in that time, since 2009, Uber's valuation, according to Forbes, is up to $68 billion. So in literally a very short time, you're seeing Uber's value pass companies like Ford and GM in a matter of no time. And so it's interesting with this model, as we look at the success leaves clues and we look at Uber starting. I really think you guys need to start wrapping your heads around the idea of there's something to the model of not owning anything other than maybe some digital assets, and connecting buyer with seller and taking a little piece of the action. Let me go to my next example. Airbnb is another company very disruptive in the space. They're actually now the largest hospitality company in the entire world. I mean, these are going against places like the Hilton, right? Huge companies that have been around forever. Okay, started in 2008. And according to CNN, they're at a $30 billion valuation in just a very short time frame. So again, this disruptive company connecting buyer with seller, but really not owning anything more than their web space, their phone application, but taking a sliver of every rental that gets rented through their site. And again, not owning any real estate either. Largest hospitality company in the world owns no real estate. Largest taxi company in the world owns no taxis. So we're kind of starting to see a little bit of a trend here, right? Success leaves clues. And then I want to go kind of to the other end of the spectrum, which is, what year did the New York Times start? So the New York Times started in 1851, and this would be more of like a a slow lane type of a business model that is antiquated, right? And I think that's 166 years later, and we look at the New York Times current valuation, and it's $2.2 billion. So we have according to Forbes, a $68 billion valuation for a company that's 7 to 8 years old, and we have a $30 billion valuation to a company that's 7 to 8 years old. And so there's some success clues that's lying right inside these two companies, and that's what I want to show you of how we're taking those exact clues and we're implementing them at a local level and being able to connect buyers with sellers in the local space for tons of different industries. And that's what I'm going to teach you in this video right here. So let's jump in. Okay, now that we've seen these companies grow at this alarming rate, now I want to show you how this all applies to you and how you can take a little piece of this action. So right now I'm over at internetlivestats.com, and I want to just show you just the staggering growth of the internet, not only as of by the second that it can show you, but also by the year. So you can see even back to year 2000 and to where we're at right now. From 414 million internet users to now over 3.5 billion users in 2016. And that's just going to continue to grow year over year. So, the internet as a whole is growing, which means the opportunity is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger for people like you and I to take a little sliver of the action in tons of different industries. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. But the second thing I want to show you is Forbes over at Forbes.com. Is that there's just in the US alone 28 million small businesses. So you remember earlier in this video I told you that sharing this information with you really doesn't bother me or will not bother any of the students that we've already trained, because the opportunity is so vast. And this is just in the US. We have students all over the world. That number, I couldn't even track down how many small businesses were worldwide, okay? But the cool thing that I saw just in the US alone was that there's 543,000 new businesses starting every month. And these are small businesses, okay? These are not the big corporate businesses, okay? So there's just a massive opportunity, not only in the growth of the internet and how many more users are using it every day, but also in the amount of small businesses that are already here and the ones that are joining and getting into business day after day, month after month, year after year. Just think of yourself for a second, how often you're doing basic searches on the internet. So I just typed in wedding photographer Dallas, and just, this is our daily action, whether it's on a cell phone or your desktop. We're typing things in, wedding photographer, photo booth rental Miami, window tinting, whatever we're typing in each and every day, we're coming up with searches. And these searches that we come into, when we click into these or when we call these phone numbers, sometimes these are owned by businesses, and sometimes they're owned by people that just own the websites and want to just refer traffic, kind of like Uber and Airbnb. They're kind of that middleman to the different businesses or the different areas or companies in that area. And so just think of yourself and just on a daily account, how often you're typing in for these local goods and services, and you're finding companies. And unlike Nike and Reebok, where there's a ton of brand value and you're going to go and buy a Nike or a Reebok or a Porsche or a Toyota, in local business, there's not as much brand loyalty. So you'll notice here, this is one of our lead gen sites where it's just a very simple generic domain name. Okay, but it connects to a local business owner where they're able to serve the customers with their staff and their building and their expertise. Okay, so the first step is understanding that there's this huge opportunity at your hands, and then the second step is really identifying, the different niches that you can get into. So I pulled up some different searches just to show you just the vast amount of different industries. Okay, this is just in business services alone. Okay, but you can see. And this is in every zip code, right? So every zip code, every market. So each zip code has its pocket of 5 or 10,000 people that surround that zip code or more that are calling upon these services. These services are not in business to not be serving customers, which means that there's people searching for this, as we were just showing you a few minutes ago. There's people searching for all these different types of services each and every day. Okay, so knowing that, from business services to lesson services to home improvement services, it's endless, the amount of different industries that you can get into and be that Uber or be that middleman to be connecting buyer with seller and taking a sliver to deliver, right? And so, we just going through all these things, trying to show you that the internet's not going anywhere, and these local businesses, there's thousands and thousands of them, all in need and not understanding how to use the internet at a high level. They're too busy working at their job. They're too busy working at their business, hiring, firing, cooking, cleaning, you name it. And so it allows people that understand the success clues of the internet and how to apply them to be able to go into these different markets and be that middle man, middle woman, and do that. So check here, Bouncy Castle Rentals. It's just a really good example. So go over here. I went into Bouncy Castle Rental Denver. So this is a perfect example of a business or an industry which you would never even think of, but yet there's entire businesses that have spent tens of thousands of dollars buying their bounce houses, and some of them are really good and they know how to be at the top of the search engines, and some of them have no clue. But even the ones at the top of the search engines are generally very outdated and they don't really understand what they're doing, and there's a lot of incorrect stuff that has been done, but just by the fact that they're not big business, they're not Toyota, they're not Big Bertha golf clubs, they're not these huge companies that have big budgets. They just get something up and they do a minimal amount possible, and yet they get the customer calls for these, right? So I want to show you how we would then go into a market like this. So first I want to just kind of give you an idea of what bounce house pricing is. Just to rent a bounce house in your backyard, this one site I found says you can rent a bounce house in your backyard for $199. So this is where I want to show you that just going into an industry like this in a very small market, what it can mean to someone like yourself for a side passive simple income stream. So I just pulled up this lead value calculator, and I'm going to type in the product or service. So I'm going to use the pricing that I found on this of $199 a month. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to just do a guesstimate that I could send somewhere between, let's 50 to 100 leads. We'll just do 75 as an example. And I'm going to show you results. So these aren't just made up numbers of students of ours that are in different industries. And these are the amount of calls they're getting at these industries a day. So the number 100 is pretty much what this is right here, about 100 calls in a month. And then we have more, right? So these are getting 6 calls a day, 11 calls a day. And these are even missed calls too. But, I'm going to teach you about how all that works. But just showing you kind of like all these different students we work with in different industries, that the number of 100 is really not that much. In fact, it's probably quite low. So I'm going to start with 75 just to be kind of on the safe side for this example here. And then I'm going to talk about the profit margin. Now in the bounce house business, because it's a product that you buy one time, your profit margin is very high in this business. I'm not saying this is a good or bad business to be in. It's just a very simple business to understand. You buy and rent a bounce house, which many people have already done, and all they need that bounce house rented, right? So their profit margin is really now just dropping off the bounce house. So they have their fuel and their time. So it's close to an 80, probably 90%, and I'm probably being pretty lenient with their profit margin. It's very, very large in this business, which is why people want to do it. Okay. And then the close rate is something that we come down here and say, well, out of 10 calls, right? Let's just say they close 3 out of 10, 30%, or we could even move it down to 20% just to be safe. Okay. So we have an 80% profit margin. Our products or service is worth $199. Now this is for the business owner, right? These are questions that you can ask them. So then this calculator will bring and kind of give you an idea of if you were to generate 75 phone calls for this business, right? Like we were showing you, you're going to generate them at a 30% or 20% close rate, 15 actual clients. Okay. And it's going to break down the monthly revenue that you're bringing to the table for this business. And then the monthly profit minus their profit margin. Remember, we put that up there. And that would, if we moved that and they said their profit margin was 70% or 90%, that would all change accordingly. And so I have all these tools built for you guys, but I want to show you this to really illustrate the value that you bring to a small business owner that they might even be getting business themselves, but we're trying to go above and beyond and bring them the calls and the clients that they weren't getting through owning some of these digital assets online that I'm going to teach you to build in this video here. Okay, so then this shows you kind of like what the value of every lead that you're sending them to, whether they answer or they don't. If their close rate is 30% on all 75 that you got them and they got actual 15 new clients, the actual value, we give you 3 different values, a high, a medium, and a low of what you could be getting for each and every one of those leads you pass them. So you can imagine if on a given day, if you're getting 7 calls or 7 leads and you're just charging the low value, that's $56 in passive income that you just received for legitimately just putting up a digital asset and really understanding how to get the phone to ring, which we're going to show you how to do, which is why I believe this is such a perfect business model. It's kind of like owning a piece of property on the web, and that property is kind of collecting small rent checks, day in and day out for you as those leads start coming in. And then, some of our clients, they don't want to pay necessarily by the lead. And so they just like to pay a flat monthly fee. And so, we've figured out exactly what that amount should be based on the amount of leads that you're bringing them, right? So in this example, this bounce house, we have the average cost based on the market where I found for a rental fee of $199. So we've put that in there, and all the way down, we've got an idea of what, if we were just to send them 75 leads per month, what this little, small, simple piece of property is going to generate you as the business owner, as the lead generator, as the passive income stream that you're creating, what it's going to do for your pocketbook. And then we can also see, as you get better and smarter on how to do this, and maybe your leads go up and you get 150 leads a month, what this one little small piece of property is going to be worth to you, right? And so it's so easy to get one of these pieces of property up on the web, okay, generating phone calls. But I want to show you the real financial implications of doing so. Even if this thing did really, really bad and only got 50 leads a month, okay, but you were able to put this entire thing up end to end in a few hours, I just want to show you the amount of money it can bring in passively while you're doing your job and bringing in multiple streams of income. And this is why I think this is such a great model for so many different people. So the question for many people at this point is, well, then how do you do it? I'm not a web builder. I don't know how to do that stuff. And I can assure you, neither am I. But I saw the value in this model. I saw the value in what Uber was doing with connecting buyer and seller. And I set out to figure out a way, even though I have zero technical skills, I have never been good at any of this stuff, how to build a site very easily. Okay. And also wanted to point out too, that these are just the calls I've been pointing out. In addition, you do get web leads that come through as well, from all different facets. And we're going to teach you like just number of leads, 540 on this one right here, everyday leads coming in. Okay. But I want to show you how you can build these simple, easy kind of web rental properties and go into all these different industries, right? We've shown you so many different industries, and create these passive income streams for the leads that you're providing. You're providing a ton of value to these business owners. And I'm also going to show you how you're going to get those business owners to want to do business with you, because we're going to send them the leads for free up front. We're just going to send them leads in advance and get them to try them out to make sure that they're actually of value. And once you've helped someone make some money, there's no reason, when they're in the business of business, which is bringing in income, and you're bringing them the bill that helps them pay their bills, there's no reason that they don't want to do business with you, right? But I want to just show you a quick illustration before we jump in too much further of just how in this model, just a few clients. Okay, let's say you have 0 clients right now, and let's just go back to this example of a really low end. So you'd only get 50 leads for this one client per month, and let's just take the low end value of $400 per month. Okay, so the average client value, let's just say, is $400, and let's just say you only got 2 new clients per month. And then you obviously have some overhead expenses, and based on my doing this for a long time, the overhead is somewhere in the neighborhood of $35 to $55 a month to run one of these properties. Okay, I want to just show you, by just getting 2 clients per month in this, what your income would look like after year one of owning these properties, okay? Now, many people go to school for 4 years to get a degree to go and teach and do nursing or what have you, and they come out and they're given an annual income that is sometimes even less than this. And this is, I'm just talking about a side income stream. Imagine if you were doing this full time, and as you get better, by the way, this average client value should go up. It should be somewhere in the neighborhood of $750 to $1,000 per month. And if you're doing this full time, of course, you should be able to get a lot more than just 2 clients a month, but more like, 6 or 7 clients a month, okay? And so when we look at that and say, wow, if I was spending that 40 hours or 50 hours I spend selling it to my employer, doing it for myself once I understood how to build out this business model, what kind of income could I really start generating? Or maybe I just want to do this on the side, okay, and get 1 or 2 clients a month and add an extra income stream to my family. The key here, guys, is multiple streams, and the key also is success leaves clues. Uber, Airbnb, these companies have already blazed a trail. Take a sliver out of their hat, take a feather out of their hat, and start applying the principles of using the internet, which doesn't sleep, it's always on, and search, which people are doing, including yourself, every day, to all these different industries that don't really know what they're doing, okay? And start taking a little cut of the action, right? Start taking a little sliver to deliver exactly what Uber, Airbnb are doing every day in this world. You can be doing the same thing. What I want you to do is, if this is interesting to you, guys, we have a coaching program where we literally walk you through this business model A through Z, okay? We tell you with no skills whatsoever how to put up a site. Very simply, my daughter, she's 8. She's got several sites up at this point. We show you how to put up a site with a drag and drop web editor. We use Weebly. It's very simple to use. We show you how to get into these industries. We give you all the tools. We give you the phone tracking system so you can bill out. It's all been built for you. We give you the lead value calculation tool so you can calculate what you should be charging and what would be over the maybe too much money. We give you everything, guys, from the niching to the how-tos, from the one-on-one, over-the-shoulder coaching on a weekly basis. Everything has been done for you. There's 3,000 students already doing this with great success, and I'm going to post some of their stuff below this so you can kind of see some of the testimonials and some of the things that are going on with those students. But we're going to teach you everything you need to know. Now, a couple things I will tell you. Our coaching program is not inexpensive. We believe that, when you're able to charge business owners $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $2,000 a month for your services, that's a pretty impressive skill set to have. And so we also charge, handsomely for the training to you guys. Now, the cool thing is we do have some scholarships that we're going to offer you guys when we do get on the phone call. But all I'd ask you is, if you get on the phone call, make sure that you're ready, or you're in a position to be starting a business like this, and that you're ready and willing to be hiring a coach, a mentor, and be joining a winning team, because that's something that you need to figure out prior to getting on the call. We can't figure that stuff out for you. Other than that, guys, I want to walk you through a lot of this strategy. Please don't jump on the phone if you're not, wanting to move forward with some coaching. But I do believe in 2017 and beyond, this is one of the smartest business models that you can be spending your time on learning. It uses all the points of wealth strategies that make sense, which is leverage, time leverage, okay, and the use of using other people and their labor, their time, their equipment, without you having to brunt the major expenses, right? It's kind of like real estate without all the huge investment. It's a digital real estate play. And so with that being said, guys, if this is something that's interesting to you guys, why don't you schedule a call with us? We'll also be sending you some emails over the next several days when you sign it, giving you different case studies, examples of students just like you who started out not knowing anything about this and have built awesome businesses. So with that being said, guys, I will see you guys hopefully on a phone call, but if not, I'll see you guys on the next videos that we'll be dropping into your inbox. So make sure you put your best email in the inbox below. Later.